All right, everybody. We are back for part 2 of 6 in our Public Health Merit Badge online video distance learning social distancing scenario that we are an active part of right now. So this one is going to cover requirement 2. Before we get into that, I want to make sure that everybody understands that right now we've got the Google Classroom going. So these videos will be posted on my YouTube channel, but they will also appear in the as an embedded file in the requirements or the assignments, I'm sorry, if you will, on Google Classroom. So make sure you have accepted the invite. If you have not, either email me or have your parents email me and let me know that there's a different email address or you can't find it or whatever it may be. There's a lot of information coming through emails right now. Between Scouts, school, and otherwise, so I understand it's kind of a lot to take in, and for a lot of Scouts, they're not as used to having to check their emails all day, every day, like some of us have to deal with between work and other items like that. So we're going to move on to requirement number 2, which deals with immunizations. So requirement 2A is explain the meaning of immunizations. According to the World Health Organization, which you've probably heard in the news a lot lately, as well as the CDC, their abbreviation is WHO. I don't know that anybody actually calls them WHO, but WHO is the World Health Organization. And they define immunization as the following. I'm going to move to my other screen here, so I'm not looking at you, but I'm still paying attention. Immunization is the process whereby a person is made immune or resistant to an infectious disease, typically by the administration of a vaccine. Vaccines stimulate the body's own immune system to protect the person against subsequent infection or disease. A lot of big words there, okay? Immunizations are the highlights of all of your doctor visits, especially as a baby or growing up. That's when they pulled out the big needles and stuck you a bunch of times, and then hopefully you got a lollipop and got sent on your way. It does specify that it makes you immune or resistant because there are certain things that do not last your entire lifetime. I know for me personally, most recently last summer, we had to go to summer camp. There was that big measles outbreak that was going on. So even if you had been immunized as a child, which I was, you still had to prove that you had a recent booster or that you were in fact immune. So doctors have a way to test your blood to find out if you actually are immune or if you need to get what's commonly referred to as a booster shot. So even though you've been vaccinated for certain things, your body over time can start to lose that, and certain things need to be boosted with even more shots. Woo! The fun part, right? So that's the basic of immunization. So a lot of the things that used to be a huge public issue, as far as diseases were concerned, polio used to be a big thing that everybody had to deal with, and was a really debilitating disease. Now, not so much anymore. You get a shot, and you get a couple boosters, and you're good to go. And I'd say at least from my generation. And yeah, I'm getting a little old here. But we don't even know anybody that's had polio because it's been gone for so long. So immunizations definitely have their place in society and do a lot for us. Obviously, it's still something that's in the works in a lot of third world countries right now. And there are a lot of organizations, specifically one that I've done a lot of research into, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Bill Gates, the co-creator and founder of Windows and Microsoft. Him and his wife have made it a goal to eradicate diseases from third world countries by taking a lot of their money and a lot of money that big investors and guys like Warren Buffett, who's with Berkshire Hathaway, have decided that they have a lot of money and they're going to make sure that they do their part to make society a better place by basically putting their money where their mouth is and trying to do everything they can to make sure that if there's certain things that they can control, they will do what they can to get them the medical needs and support to hopefully try to get rid of it completely. So immunizations are very important. I know, especially with schools, although obviously you guys aren't in school right now, but when it comes time to register for high school and things like that, you have to submit your immunization records. I don't know what's going on with my mouth here. You have to submit your immunization records to show that you've had your shots and all that other good stuff. So although it's not a pleasant experience, I can assure you that a few shots every couple years is far better than dealing with a lifetime disease that you can't do anything about. So make sure you're vaccinated. That's my little plug there. So that was 2A. You need to explain immunization, and as you'll see in the Google Classroom, when you go to part 2 here, you can choose to add a Google Doc or a spreadsheet, or you can upload a PDF if you've got the PDF workbook on your computer, laptop, tablet, phone, whatever it may be. There's a lot of different ways that you can do that. I do want to stress that a scout is trustworthy, so we are not just going to copy and paste from something else. You are going to put it into your own words. If anything, it'll be good practice for when school gets back in session and you are required to do things the right way, which is put them into your own words to show that you actually have understanding of the material at hand. So I don't want copy and paste, because anybody can do that. The idea is that you understand it and that you know it, and that once you do that, it's going to stick with you and hopefully make you better informed for the future as you grow up. Now, moving on. Now that we're done with defining what immunizations are, 2B. Name 8 diseases against which a young child should be immunized. Wow, that's a tongue twister when you say it a bunch of times. 2 diseases against which everyone should be re-immunized periodically. And 1 immunization everyone should receive annually. So this one you're going to have to do your homework on. It's easy to find. Okay, you're just listing immunizations, so it's not anything that really has to be reworded. Okay, but just to recap, you need 8 that all children should have at a young age. Okay, initially growing up. 2 of which need to be re-immunized or get a booster, basically, periodically, based on things you're exposed to or otherwise. I know growing up, I used to always get into situations where I would cut my hands. There's some funny stories where I cut a big section of my finger off here and had to get a bunch of stitches with a knife, where I actually put a bolt through my hand. My left hand's not very lucky. Bolt through my hand that came up and kind of pushed the skin up on the top side. Anytime you run into potentially rusty old metal of any kind, the dreaded tetanus comes into play. So I've definitely had my fair share of tetanus booster shots in my lifetime. So I'll give you a little tip that's going to be a good possibility for one of the ones that you need to get periodically, depending on situations and things that might happen to you. And then 1 immunization, which everyone should receive annually. Okay, recommended to get it at least once a year. It kind of comes around in the winter time, something that everybody hears about on the radio and the news. You can get the shots almost anywhere. Rite Aid, Walgreens, probably Target, maybe even the post office. Don't know. But this immunization is one that they go out of their way to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to get, and that's one that is recommended to get annually, so every year. So 8 you should get as a youth, as a child, a young child. 2 you need to get periodically, as needed, depending on what you do. And 1 that's recommended every year. All right, so that's 2B. Not to be or not to be. 2C, okay? Last one to round out this particular segment is using the list of diseases and conditions in requirement 1B Discuss with me or your counselor those which currently have no immunizations available. So to recap, I'm gonna list all of the items in in 1B that relate to 2C, 1B, 2C. Okay, we're gonna use the same situation here, and you're just gonna need to list in the in your uploaded spreadsheet or Word doc, whatever it may be. Those that don't have an immunization. So if one of the things that I list on here, there's nothing that you can get to prevent it from infecting you. So, you know, like you can get the polio vaccine, right? So then you don't end up getting polio. But there's other ones that there's nothing you can do. And I'll use botulism as an example. It's one of the ones on the list. Botulism is usually found in either contaminated food that's gone rotten, water that's been contaminated, things like that. There is no vaccine for that you get when you're a child or even as an adult that will allow you to eat any old or drink any gross water or food that you happen to find laying in the street. Something that's gone well beyond the 5-second rule. There's no vaccine that says, oh, you're good. You can go ahead and eat anything in whatever condition it's in. No, don't do that. And even now, don't stick to the 5-second rule. That's my little pro tip for the day. So here are the items that are listed in 1B that you chose 4 of to give a little brief synopsis of, okay, a brief summary of. Of these, you need to discuss, or you need to let me know which ones do not have vaccines, okay? So which ones are you not able to either become immune or resistant to, and that if you do contract them, you then have to go through a series of either treatments, be it via medicine or otherwise. So here we go. Here's the list. Same list I listed in in part 1, but we're going a different direction with it. So not what type of disease is it, how do you get it, how can you prevent it, things like that. This is, can you get vaccinated or can you not get vaccinated for it? All right, here's the list. We have gonorrhea, West Nile virus, Zika, the Zika virus, okay, botulism, which we just covered, influenza, might be one of the answers in 1 or 2B. You want to check on that one. Syphilis, hepatitis, and there are a couple different strains of hepatitis, so you're going to want to make sure you do your homework on that one. It's another little hint. Emphysema, meningitis, herpes, and lead poisoning. So of that list, which ones can you not get vaccinated for? Okay, that's what we're looking for on 2C. Of that list, which ones can you not prevent by getting a shot at some point in your life? All right, so that rounds out requirement 2. This video will be, like I said, added to the Google Classroom. So if you haven't already accepted your invite, please check your inbox, check your spam box, check your junk box, wherever you have decided to forward my messages to. And make sure you get on there, get that submitted, get it going. Only a couple more parts, and then Public Health Merit Badge will be checked off the list. All right? So if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Send me an email. If you've got my number, send me a text, whatever works best for you. I'm here. I'm up late. I'm up early. So whenever you have questions, I'm available. Until next time, Scout on.